Hello and welcome to Survive the Unexpected with your host Frank Pacino and my partner in crime, man Brian. Today we are discussing the first four episodes of Big Brother 2. And I'm very excited about doing this, especially after I felt like a kind of boring rewatch in AO. So
Yep. Our first BB season. We're excited.
very excited.
Frank is ready to talk to some BB.
Yeah, I've been fiending for good BB because 22 was bad. So
Yeah,
spoiler alert, it was bad.
22 is awful.
So I really like I have no nostalgia with BB, so don't get it twisted like it's all big nostalgia. I started Big Brother at 17. So I went back and rewatched all of them like I did
Really?
Survivor. Yeah, so this is no
Wow.
nostalgia. This is me just enjoying this season.
That's crazy because I again like I watched live, but I was way more into Big Brother growing up than
Mm,
Survivor. So for me, I watched live. I remember for sure watching BB6 live.
okay.
For sure watching BB6 live. So I think I probably, from my general knowledge, remember BB5. I think as when I like as far back as I can remember was BB5, and
Mm.
then really got into it in BB6. Obviously, it's like everyone's favorite season.
I really
But
enjoyed BB 17, 18, 19 is a rough watch, 20 is a good watch. But after 18, I think I went back and rewatched all of them. That's when I first got into CBS and watched all the
yeah,
Survivors and Big Brothers and went back and watched it. And I was like obsessed for a while. So
I watched live for a long time. I was really into it, and we watch it every single year. And I watched live up until BB. I think I stopped at BB 15. I think once the whole thing with BB 15 happened, I took a break. Like not because like, like oh, I was like going against it, but I just took a break. And then
mm,
I picked back up with BB 19. Horrible season to pick back up on.
yes.
I was like, oh my God, this is like the worst. This is like the worst TV ever.
Yeah.
But I stuck with it and then watched BB 20. And then, BB 20 was obviously like a breath of fresh air. It was like literally like the Philippines of Big Brother, of like the breath of fresh air to happen. So
Yeah.
I picked back up watching and got really back into it. And that's when I started like super fanning Big Brother, to where I was like watching live feeds all the time and watching podcasts on it and listening to different people's opinions. And I was way more of a super fan with Big Brother first than Survivor.
Yeah, same. Big Brother has a special place in my heart. I do think the problems with Big Brother, it shows more in Big Brother than it does Survivor. I think the
Yeah.
cast in Big Brother lately are been the issues, not the
Yeah.
game and the twist. They have too many twists. They need to lower the twist down and they need the cast better. Stop casting these supermodel people that are idiots and
Yeah.
nobody enjoys watching. They just here for clout. They're not there to play the game. Get people who want to play the game. And then you have one or two of those. Have one
I
male
miss there being
and
an
one
age
female.
diversity. You know what I mean? Like the
Mhm.
oldest person, sometimes it's only like one old person, which they consider old, like 40 and up, which is not old. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like we need a little bit more variety in it. And I think that this 50% minority casting is going to help because it's going to bring some change to this, blonde, big boobed, casting that they love doing. And I just am tired of seeing that. And I think a lot of fans are.
I'm tired of
Fans
the
of Big
meatheads.
Brother, yes, fans of Big Brother are way more critical of casting than like fans of Survivor,
Oh
but they
yeah.
do a better job casting Survivor.
Overall,
My
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, in my personal opinion.
Overall, yeah. Overall, yes. 21 was terrible casting. Not terrible. Like half of it, when the bad casting was really bad, and the good casting was
Yeah.
good, but the bad casting was just really bad. There was no great casting in 21, in my opinion. There was good casting, but the bad was really bad. So,
Yeah.
we start with Big Brother 2. There's like I said about Borneo, that if this didn't stick the landing, because Big Brother 1 was a different show. If Big Brother 2 didn't stick the landing with this season, it may not have became what it became. So
And the casting is what did it.
yes,
Yeah.
really great casting. We'll go through it. We have Shannon, Kent, Monica, Mike Boogie, Bunky, Autumn, Krista, Cheryl, Hardy, Will, Nicole, Justin. Oh, besides Justin, this is a really good cast. Even Justin
Yeah,
has, yeah, Justin's. We'll get there. That was
get
rough.
there.
But yeah, it was a really really great cast. Great different personalities in the house, which is good. You want to see different
Yeah.
personalities mix, and they really do both this and brought back some of these. Actually, only two of them. Surprisingly, only two of them played again.
Bunky didn't play again?
Nope, he was up for
I
All Stars and
know.
didn't get picked.
That's right. He was up for all. That's right. I remember that now.
My
He was up
Boogie
for
and
All
Will are
Stars.
the
Yeah,
only ones
Mike
that played more
Buchanan
than
and Will.
once.
That's true.
What do
So
you think of
far.
the old house? Because this is the original Big Brother house.
Tiny, man. Oh, it's original bigger house?
No, no, this is the original small. Like this is the
Okay,
original Big
okay.
Brother
I was
house.
gonna say, yes, tiny. You see like the HO, like the special like bedroom. It
Yeah,
was like literally like you couldn't even, it was literally just enough room for the bed. It wasn't even enough room to walk, beside it or anything, just enough room to get in there, get on the bed, or get off,
yeah.
which I can understand why I might call it the hookup room, you know what I mean? But no, it was way, way smaller than what I remembered. And I think that's why everyone gets on each other's nerves so much easier, is because there's just not a lot of room to get away or to even talk. I mean, you're literally on almost a 1 floor room, like
It's literally the
area.
one floor. There's like
Yeah.
three rooms. Honestly, I don't know if like the bigger house is way better the way it looks.
Oh, yeah.
But I do love them being enclosed with each other and less places to hide. The big house has so many rooms that you can just
Yeah.
hide in. And the small house, like you have to interact with these people and you have to, and it's like harder to gameplay and you see people gameplaying it and just, I don't know. It just, I do enjoy both houses for different reasons.
I do. And I forgot how, even with it being so tiny, like Mike Boogie was able to overhear Monica and Bunky's conversation like that. And then we even see overhearing from walls and doors in Big Brother today. Like
Hmm.
you see it, you see it really prominent, like especially in like Big Brother 19 is super, super prominent.
Hmm.
Or no, Big Brother 21. In Big Brother 21, it is super, super prominent. So like you see it all throughout Big Brother history, but I forgot how early it showed up.
Yeah.
We'll get to it, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of things that have changed but still stay the same at the same time. We saw Kent trying to make alliances from the jump.
The jump.
Hey, honestly, if it, he was like, if we five stick together, we five stick together. Of course, the five changes all the time,
Yeah.
but he is trying to solidify something.
Yes. But I do like how they enter the house and it's like, the first four, pick your beds. Now everyone got a bed. Someone got a cot or somebody had or a sleeping bag. Like there's two
Yeah,
cots and then there was a one sleeping bag. Kent, the oldest man, got the sleeping bag.
sleeping bag.
Yeah, it was pretty
They
rough.
should have known that was going to happen to him being one of the last ones in the house.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Mhm.
what would your strategy be with claiming a bed?
Oh, I would want the best bed.
You just want the best bed?
Yep. Best bed. Listen, I have to have a bed to sleep in, or I'm gonna be. I don't even know if they allow it, but I will. If I would have got like the sleeping bag, I'm sleeping on the couch. I'm sleeping on the Big Brother couch the whole time.
Hmm.
I don't know if
I
Big
I
Brother would
would like
allow it,
to
but
I would like to place myself in a prominent room, like in the center, like in the middle, like not one that's all the way in the back, but not all the way in the front. I would like the one that's tried to like kind of where you can manage the the cross paths of where people are going and everything
yeah,
like that. And the people in the room matter too. I would make the look and be like, okay, I want to room with this person, this person, this person, and I'd try to room with as many of those people as I could, just because those are the people
yeah,
first impressions are the most, and those are the people that I think I have a chance to like sit down, chat with,
bond with.
strategize with. Yeah, those are the people. That's what I would go into. I know like everybody's not thinking that way, but me, that's the first thing I'm thinking is the
Oh,
game, is
sure,
try
for
to figure out
sure.
who I want to sit like lay in the bed with, like not you know literally lay in the bed with,
You're
but
gonna want to room with somebody who is chatty, because
yes.
they're gonna give you all that info that you want,
Hmm.
even without meaning to. I feel like that's always the best strategy, to align with somebody who is popular, or who
Yeah.
at least, you know what I mean, gets, yeah, is in the crosshairs of information and talking all the time. I agree.
Yeah. And there's already people scoping out the good looking guys and the good looking women right away. It's prominent in this season.
That's Big Brother. That's Big Brother, baby. Is
For
all the
sure.
good looking men and women and how they connect together.
For sure. And it's mentioned a lot. Cheryl's a hot mother.
Cheryl's a hottie.
Yeah. I love when Dr. Will's like, I don't care if your 17-year-old son's watching. She's a hottie. Your mom's a hottie.
Your mom's a hottie. He
uh,
likes Cheryl more than anyone else.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I understand. I mean, I get it. She's a good looking woman. So
She's a good looking woman for her age, 100%.
Bunky definitely talks about, he mentions his sexuality in the confessional, and he talks about keeping it a secret for a little bit. This
was like
is
circa, when do you know this aired? Was it
Hmm?
2002? Was it 2002 this aired?
It's after Borneo.
Okay, so Borneo, I'm sorry. Borneo was in 2001. So
So
Big Brother 2 would have
2002.
been around 2001, 2002. So his, Bunky keeping his sexuality secret back then was huge because for one, not gay marriage wasn't legal back then.
It
So
was
for
in
him to
some
be,
areas, I believe,
it was in some
because
areas.
he was married.
Yes, it was. I think California.
Mm-hmm.
It was in some areas around the country, and there might be other states that I just don't remember. That had it legalized by then. But majority of the, majority elsewhere, it wasn't even legal to get married then. So for him to come on national television circa the time, and for him to just come out and be like, "Yeah, I'm gay," like, of course we saw this from Richard Hatch, and Survivor. I think that's what helped in a way. It's a huge monument for television where Richard Hatch got on there and was like, "Yeah, I'm gay. I don't care." Bunky cared. Bunky
Mm-hmm.
cared a lot. He was very afraid of how the house was going to perceive him and how the house was going to, take on the fact that they were going to be living with a gay man.
The
And he knew
other,
the weight of that.
he was more nervous about the males. The females didn't scare him. The males scared him.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Will was no small guy at the time. He is very muscular. Hardy is a really big guy. Kent right away is very conservative. Uh, Boogie is a bro at the time.
Right.
So I completely understand his thinking, and Justin's a big guy too. So I completely understand
Yeah.
him wanting to keep it a secret because he's like, I want to fit in with these guys. And if I just say, hey, I'm the gay guy and I'm perceived as the weak guy, and he did not want to be perceived that way. And so I
No, he
understand what he was
kept
thinking
it.
was, and
I
he,
think he did the right thing.
for the times, yes, I agree. For the
Yes.
times, yes. Uh, but then we jump into food competition. I personally love the food competitions.
Oh yeah, me
I
too.
missed seeing them. I'll be
I
honest.
like group. I like group competitions in general.
I see. I like it. I like it when it's individual too. Like, all these
Yeah,
people aren't eating. These people are eating. Like, I really enjoy that aspect because it's could be used as a game, and that's what something that's missing from current Big Brother is the
yeah,
fun. You don't see as much fun, and them doing these competitions, you see them having fun, and that's
yeah,
fun to me as a watcher, is seeing these people have fun. If people are miserable, like AO, like everybody was miserable, that's not fun to watch people be
no,
miserable. It's fun to see people enjoy themselves and have fun and interact with each other, and not always game. Like, I want a fine line of a lot of game but have fun in it. If it's nothing but
yeah,
arguments and game, guess what? It's gonna be kind of a little bit of drag. That's what 19 was. It was arguments
yeah,
and then Paul running the game. That was all 19
yeah.
was. And so it was very hard to watch. So I want to see people have fun. And so food competitions are fun. This one, so this is before they had to slop.
Right.
If they lost, they had to eat peanut butter and jelly for a week. Do you think you'd have issues with that?
I like peanut butter jelly. I could eat peanut. I mean, I wouldn't like doing it, but I could do it. Listen, I could eat peanut butter and jelly way better than Big Brother slop.
Oh,
You
me
give
too.
me you give me a peanut butter and jelly for a week, I will take that gladly over Big Brother slop because Big Brother
Hmm.
slop they say, I mean obviously you don't know unless you're on the show, but they say it's like tasteless oatmeal. It's
Yeah.
like very very bland tasteless oatmeal that you can't really do anything with. So that would be the hardest part for me would be to, I mean, like peanut butter and jelly is fine, especially if I get to choose different jellies. Oh yeah, I can do
Yeah,
it.
I think that'd be easy for me. Honestly, I was sitting there
Yeah.
whenever I watched this, I was like, man, really? Like, you see people have like the hardest time with it. Me, I'm like, really? Is it really be that hard? I think I could do it.
Be easy too.
hmm I like make me a little sandwich, eat it up. Like as long as I have enough bread and stuff that where I don't run out, then I'll be good.
Yeah. I
So
guess because it doesn't say how many peanut butter and jellies you're limited to, does it? You can just
I
eat
don't think
peanut
so.
butter and jelly. So
No.
you can easily get full off of 2 peanut butter jellies.
Yeah.
I feel like 2 peanut butter jellies is a lot. Like it's a lot of peanut butter and jelly and bread to fill you up, especially if you're drinking it with milk.
You can't drink milk. I think you only drink water.
Oh, can you only drink water during?
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe so. So it's water and peanut butter and jelly.
Okay.
And that would be the biggest issue with me because I like my juices and pops and
Me too, bro. I
yeah.
love juice. I drink
Mhm.
juice all the time. Yeah, only eating certain things that'd be hard in Big Brother, especially since you're like they kind of touched on it a little bit, but how bored you would be. You have no television, you have no phone to distract you. You literally are just stuck in these with in a house with these people, and you have no form of entertainment. You got to make it yourself. So
But they
that'd be even
had a lot
worse.
there. They had a lot of board games and a basketball hoop. I would be fine. And a pool, I'd
Weights,
be
the
weights.
gym.
Right. I'd be all
Mm-hmm.
right. But the food competition basically was that they had to pick up all the groceries, jump into this car, and they all had to sit there for what was it, like 10 seconds after they had like 30 seconds to do it or something.
Oh, to
And
get set in the car.
yeah.
Yeah,
So they got all got in the car, they all did it. And now Julie goes over the intercom, like, now you guys, congrats, you guys won food. This is a group competition, so everybody won food.
right.
And the last person to get out the car wins the car. And so they all sit there and they start discussing, and some of them want the car more than others. Would you sit there for the
Yeah.
car?
Now listen, because part of this competition too was someone had started a rumor saying like, well, the last one in the car is going to be the one going home.
Nicole said
Now,
that.
now, if I was sitting in that car and they said that, I think I'd be one of those people to pile out of the big giant group that piled out because I wouldn't want to go home over a car.
hmm
If
It
I needed it
depends.
more, maybe, but
It depends on my situation.
right,
If I'm in the situation I'm currently in, I would probably hop out. I don't think I need a new car that badly. I'd rather try to win the game.
right,
But like if I needed the car, I'm sucking up and sitting there. And all you had to do is
yeah.
sit there. As long as you don't sleep. Now they're lucky. If they would have said I could have slept, I could have sat there for days. But but there was no
What
sleeping
do
allowed.
you remember what exactly the rules were? Because I remember when you couldn't eat and you couldn't sleep, but I couldn't
Yes.
remember the other one. Was the other one use the bathroom? You couldn't use the
Yeah, you can't
bathroom.
use the bathroom.
Mhm.
And the last so when Nicole was like, how about the last person out of the car, whoever gets the car gets voted out first. And everybody's very upset by that because it's like, no, that's not how it works. It's not all team play, rah rah. This is a game. We're all playing for ourselves. But a lot of people jumped
Exactly.
out. Cheryl, Kent, and Autumn were the last three in. Autumn really wanted that car because she was a single mother. She needed the car. Kent's
She
like,
needed a
look,
car.
my wife would be pissed at me if I get out. So Cheryl dropped out. She's like, all right, you guys have at it.
Cheryl knew, and Autumn eventually found out too that Kent wasn't going to get out of that car. He's just
Mhm.
too selfish of a guy. He wasn't going to give it to anyone
Would you
else.
felt bad sitting taking it from Autumn?
Yeah, I would have.
I wouldn't have.
Frank.
If
Frank said
eh,
Mariah needs a new car.
yeah, if Mariah told me, hey, there's a chance to get a new car, you better get that new car. Guess what?
I mean, I would definitely consider it, but I mean, I would, in my personal circumstance, I wouldn't need it over Autumn in that circumstance. So I wouldn't mind getting out if she needed it. Plus, that's a bigger target on herself, which is fine with me.
Very true. Think I think it depends on my situation and depends on the car. That current
Yeah,
car, I'm not struggling to get that car. Now, if there's like a Mustang or a Lambo or some craziness like that, then yeah, I'm struggling. I'm getting that
right.
car. But
Yeah,
it was like a family car. Those are expensive, yes, because I just bought one.
yes,
I know how expensive they are, but
yes.
I'll be like, $500,000 sounds better. So
Way better.
Kent wins the car. Autumn's upset by it, throwing a big fit, and it's just like, let it go. You could have sat there if you wanted the car.
Autumn is a whiny baby.
Really whiny.
hmm Super whiny baby.
Yeah, how do you feel about Autumn?
I don't like Autumn. She's annoying.
Yeah, I'm around the same way.
I think that Hardy hit it the nail on the head when he was like, she just doesn't love herself. Like she craves all this attention because she's not confident in herself. And I think that's a very that was a very like forward thing to think. Like that's a little bit ahead of the times way to think about it. But I agree. I think that she has got some self-identity issues.
Yeah. So now we see like a fun segment after that. They do like a truth or dare circle. I think everybody was involved except for Nicole and Kent, I believe.
Yep, because they're married.
Nicole was married, Kent was married. I would play as long as it wasn't like they try to make like I'd tell them like, look, I'll play, but you can't have me cross any lines.
Yeah,
And that's all.
Don't push it for me.
Don't push it for me. You know, I can mess around, like I can joke around with the guys or whatever, or do something stupid, but like don't push it for me. I'm not kissing anybody or anything like that.
No.
And that's all it had to be. Like if Nicole said that, I think they would have behaved. But Nicole acted like it's not fair that they're playing these games and I'm getting isolated because of it. And I'm like, girl, all you got to do is put your foot down and say, these are the ground rules. If I'm going to play, if they don't respect it, it's on them, not on you. By you not participating. Don't feel like
you're missing out because you're married. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're not purposely excluding you because you're married. You just can't go along with it because you're married. You shouldn't feel bad about that. That's my opinion of it too. It was just like, okay, I'm married. I'm a little bit more mature and a little bit more ahead of games like this. So, you know, I will sit out and watch everybody else have fun. Kent didn't join in, and you didn't see him throw a big fit about it.
No, and you know? It's like one of those things like you're in a house full of 20-something-year-olds besides Cheryl, Nicole, and Kent. Oh, I guess Bunky, I think, was in 30s, right?
Bunky's a little bit older, yeah.
But majority of them were in their 20s. Yeah. So what do you? They're there to have fun. They're having a good time. So they're there. What do you just adapt to it? And if they cross the line for you, then they cross the line. It's on them. That's why that's me personally as a married man. I'd be like, hey, I can't do this, this, and this, but I'm in the play to have some fun.
Exactly.
Like have me take a shot, something like that.
You have to keep yourself socially in.
Exactly. Don't isolate yourself right out the gate. Right. But this segment was fun. They did some crazy stuff. It was fun watching them do some madness. I enjoyed it anyways.
Yeah.
I like them having fun. But afterwards, Kent mentions that he doesn't like the alternative lifestyles and goes on this big tangent. I mean, this would not be shown today. No. I don't think Kent would be casted today, to be honest with you.
I give props to Bunky for sitting there and taking it. He sat there and took that from him and didn't say a word. That'd be hard for me to do. If someone were to attack me like that without even realizing it, I would be like, listen, wait. But I think that he did get to that point. Eventually, Bunky was like irritated telling him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that I give it to Bunky because that'd be hard. There's a reason why Bunky's a fan favorite.
He was literally telling Bunky like, I don't like the gays, and that that it's used to be out of line. Now it's cool and it's stuff like that. And it's weird. It's awkward. It's not fun to watch. That part's not fun to watch. Bunky did control himself very well. Different time. This was 20 years ago. So way different time. So we'll go there.
Sometimes I wonder if CBS does these things to hurt or to help because, you know, it's like I said earlier, it's a very different take from like Richard Hatch, where Richard Hatch was like very out and very proud and very, you know, this is me. And if you don't like it, then, you know, go on with yourself. And that's a very now way to be, which is great. It's a correct way to be.
Right.
You know, and back then, you know, Richard was like that. And so I think CBS was like, this is great. You know, we're having a lot of this representation shown. And then we get to Bunky, and Bunky is very realistic in the sense of like, no, it's not all like we're not all like Richard Hatch, who has it easy and he can just come out and say whatever. You know, I am scared to tell them that I have a husband. I am scared to tell them that I'm married. And I think that he's very, very valid in that.
They did ask about Bunky's wife, and he just said, oh, I'm not going to say say the name just
He wanted to come out
because
on
we
his own
respect
term.
it and stuff like that.
He wanted to come out on his own term.
Right, exactly. And I
Mhm.
get that 100%. So we get to the HOH competition, and it's like they have a wheel, they spin the wheel, and whatever category it lands on two categories. And then
Mhm.
you pick two people who represent those categories. And some of the
Interesting
categories
touchy
were touched.
subjects. Mm-hmm.
I personally love this HOH competition. This should be a every season thing. This should be a every season thing. The first HOH competition be legit every
Oh
time.
yeah, and they hit, and again, like they hit the nail on the head, and they're like, just causes controversy. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to get
Exactly.
people talking. It's supposed to get the game moving in a sense of, can I trust this person? Oh, this person labeled me as this.
Mm.
Autumn was not ready being able to be labeled the most smelly.
Yeah, there was smelly,
No.
bitchy, annoying, loud. There was all kinds of hot, smartest.
Smartest, yep. Funnest, coolest. Oh yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and
I think it was a good comp for
I really
sure.
enjoyed it. And when it came down to the final two, basically everyone else voted for the HOH. Either it was Boogie
Yeah.
or Cheryl.
I
And
forgot
so
that Boogie was the very first HOH ever.
yeah, very first HOH ever was Mike Boogie.
Not a huge Mike Boogie fan. I think that
uh,
he's very overrated, but that's just me.
I was a Mike Boogie fan until recent events.
Oh, really? Yeah.
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 I was as a player, I think he got overlooked a little bit.
We'll get to that in
But
BB22.
but yeah, what he did recently. Again, we'll get there eventually. But yeah, I really love this. I love that they had to be on the spot. And basically, oh, I forgot to mention when they nominated the two people, they voted for one of them to be voted out.
Yeah.
And then the other person spun the wheel and then picked the two people. So I was all for it. This should be a competition every season.
I think it
And
was good. I think it was a really good one. Mm-hmm.
yeah. And you know, you get I forgot we get the Mike Boogie rapping. It's so terrible.
Oh my God. Yeah. No. I'll pass on Mike Boogie rapping. Thanks.
I
I'm
think
good.
I think Nicole called him Slim Shady or something.
Yeah, probably. Dude, Nicole has, you know what kills me is like, for Nicole to be like an early target, her confessionals are so funny. Her confessionals are so good.
They're so
I'm
good.
just like, I don't want her to go yet. Like as a first boot, I don't want her to go yet.
This is why I enjoy this season so much, is because you have great characters, great confessionals, and good
Yeah.
gameplay. It's not, if it's ranking by the gameplay, this doesn't rank towards the top tier. But my enjoyment
No.
of the season overall is really high for me.
Because the characters are so good.
Exactly. And the
Mm-hmm.
gameplay is okay. It's solid. It's not terrible. It's not Borneo when it's 1-1-1-1 and then
Right.
5.
Right.
We're
I
not,
agree.
or we're not seeing someone get blindsided and then they're not acting on it at all, like in AO. So things like that. We see consequences throughout the season. So I'm very high in this. But
Yes.
that pretty much episode wraps up episode 1. That was a long
Well, we just started. That's why. If
yes,
you're talking
yeah.
about, first starting and all that good stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so we get to episode 2 and Mike, it starts out with Mike worried about how he's going to do the nominations because this is tough. I understand he's in a tough position. What would you do if you were Mike Boogie going into these nominations?
yeah. I think that I think that Mike Boogie was right in the sense to be worried. And I'm glad that as one of the first HOHs, he doesn't get a power trip with it. And he understands that this is also a blessing in disguise. Not only does he, because he knows that he's going to put a target on himself by putting people up for nominations. So I'm glad that they highlight that in the very, very first, one of the very, very first confessionals of him being HOH, just him saying, no, oh, this really stinks, as I really like everybody. I don't want to send anyone home, but I have to, have to really think about it and decide.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I was kind of shocked when he put Cheryl up. I wasn't expecting that. But I mean, we'll get to that later. But I mean, I wasn't expecting for him to do that. So I think that he did take into account all options, laid them all out of what he wanted to do, and picked his best option. Mhm.
Yeah, I'll get to where I think what he should have did when we get there, but
Yeah.
I understand what his thinking was going into the nominations as well.
Mhm.
Kent is really gaming hard. The way he presents him and Justin is just so funny to me.
He
Listen,
tells everybody he's number two. Me and Justin and never gonna vote each other out.
we're never gonna vote each other. We're never gonna nominate each other. We can take this all away. Just join me and Justin.
Who
He does it.
in what world does that sound appealing at all? Hey, you can be number three in our alliance the whole way, and that's
Yeah.
the way it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Because like back then, there was no final three.
There's no final three in Big Brother at all.
Yeah, there's no final Big Brother at
So you
all.
want just final two. So you like if you have no opportunity to get to two, it's like what are you doing? And he wanted to. He approached the guys. He approached Mike Boogie and was like, "You, me, Justin, Bunky, Will, and yourself." And he's like, "What's us five? We can just bust out these HOH competitions.
Yeah.
We have nothing to worry about. We won't lose. Yeah, yeah, yeah." And it's not a terrible strategy because HOH is one of those things that are like HOH. Big Brother is one of those things that you don't need the majority alliance. It
No.
helps, but Big Brother is one of those things that people from the bottom can overcome number deficits if you have
If
more than one person.
if you have more than one person trying at it, what
Yeah.
you see later on, and what like sometimes like in BB 15 or like BB like 21 is like once you're solidified as the bottom, some people get bottom-itis where they don't think they can get out.
Mm.
So they sit there and whine and cry and pout, and oh, I'm at the bottom, and there's nothing I can do, and they just literally wait to get picked off. And Big Brother, like Frank said, it doesn't always have to be the situation. You can vote cluster way easier in Big Brother than Survivor.
Yeah. And you know, especially nowadays in modern Big Brother, competitions mean so much more nowadays than they did back then.
Yeah.
And nowadays, if you dominate competitions, you dominate the show. That's just the way Big Brother is nowadays. I don't personally enjoy that much. That's why I'm like the meatheads can go. Give me one meathead and
But
that's
the
enough.
meatheads have not won though, Frank. Because like, what instance where the meathead won for Big Brother?
21, 22.
I guess so. That's it though.
That's
That's really
recent.
it.
That's
It's
recent.
recent.
And 20 really because Tyler was a big guy. Casey, athletic woman. They dominated the
I think
competitions.
of like the dumb meatheads though, like the
Okay,
Marks
I
and
give you I
like the
give you that.
Marks and the Fezes and like that character. Stop, Big Brother, stop casting that character.
Yeah.
Because that character doesn't win.
You see what I'm saying
what,
though?
in what world does it win?
You see what I'm saying though? Like the last 3 seasons have been dominated by competition, really.
Yeah.
And the big
It's
and it's just
all been male.
yeah. It's just, I want to see. I want to. The Big Brother needs more variety with their competitions, more brain teasers, more things like we just seen, things like that, where you can strategically win a competition instead of be the fastest or the one who can jump the highest or stuff like that. But yeah, so Big Brother is a way where you can definitely overcome a deficit. You don't need a majority alliance. Does it help? Absolutely. It always helps to have numbers on your side. But
we've seen some great players from the bottom too.
Yes, exactly. And we've seen people crawl their way up. Mike talks about nominating Nicole. Nicole's an easy nomination. And to me, I agree. She made herself an easy target by the way she acted about being isolated and being loud and being obnoxious. And at first, she was rubbing majority of the people the wrong way.
I think she was excited. I think she was excited to be there, excited to hang out with a younger crowd, excited to feel young again, in the sense of all of that. And I think that she got too wrapped up in it.
Yeah, I would see that's the perfect person to work with.
Yeah.
That's the perfect
because they
person
can
to
go
work
at
with.
any time, so you're fine. You can use your vote until you literally don't need it anymore.
Exactly.
No one's gonna be mad they're gone.
Exactly. So we get to the luxury competition, and all the men get into women's bikinis and stuff. They're again having fun. The luxury competition, look, these competitions aren't thrilling to watch, but them having so much fun with them is what makes it easy to watch.
Yes.
you understand what's going on. You see them just goofing off and having
And you want them to
fun.
win the hot tub. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You want them to get that kind of stuff because it's
Hmm.
fun for them. You know what I mean? And they work hard enough to do it.
And then they have to dive for the keys and the sludge, and
Oh, it's
it's weird. It's
gross.
weird. I don't know what it is.
Slop. That's what it looked like almost, was Big Brother Slop.
I love his. Let's get down and dirty. And Mike Bucket, and then you have Will going. "Ah."
I think it was Nicole or Shannon or someone. One of the women was like, I don't know what that was, but it was great for my skin. They were like all feeling their arms. It was so
I think it
funny.
was Krista.
I think it was Krista too. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't get a lot of her yet.
No, she get more as she goes on. Well,
Yeah.
we get her at towards the end. I think episode 3 too, because of
Yeah.
or 4 1 and 2.
Right.
But they get all the keys. They win the hot tub. Good for them.
They
It
were
was
close.
fun.
They almost didn't get it.
Yeah,
They were almost to the end.
honestly, I don't think they could lose those competitions. I just think they make it look closer than it actually is.
True. There's a lot of production interference.
Yeah, but like you said, you want them to get the hot tub
You want
unlocked.
them to win. Yeah, you want them to win it.
So we see Nicole trying to lock it down and try to get to know people. She really bonds hard with Hardy, and Hardy's like, "Look,
Yeah.
you need to do this, this, and this," and like gives her a rundown on what to do. Like, hey, you need to start doing this, this, and this, or you're gonna go up. And so she's trying really hard.
I think Hardy likes her because she's not trying to get with him.
Yeah.
So I think he likes having her around because he considers her like a cool female that, you know, isn't trying to get down his pants.
Yeah, which Autumn was trying to just claw on the bed.
Yeah.
And he's like, he pretty much like if this was a man doing this to a woman, it'd be seen totally different.
Yeah.
The way she was acting with him was really bad.
Really
creepy.
Bad. I agree. Creepy. And then she was like doing the same thing with, like, she was flirting with multiple people.
Yeah.
She was flirting with him. She was flirting with Justin. She was flirting with Will. Like,
yeah. She's like, how does it feel to me haven't shown you physical affection or something, touching your? He's like, what do you mean? He's like, he's just so annoyed.
And this was in the first 24 hours.
Right. And she's like, can I come lay with you? He's like, just go to your own bed. Like, how much of a hint do you need that you're not welcome in this situation?
A lot. They knew really what they were doing, casting her. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Like I said, if this was switched to genders, it's really bad.
Oh, absolutely. It's not acceptable.
No. Bunky does tell Autumn the first person. She's the first person he tells about he being gay and talk about, and the way he did it was he showed a picture of his husband and his dogs. He's like, this is my family. And she's like, oh, and he's like, I just don't want people to judge me. Well. And she's like, why would we judge you? Like, majority, like, besides Kent, everybody was accepting.
Oh, absolutely.
So
and I think that Kent, and I don't know if you know this now or not, but I don't know if you know, Kent and Bunky are friends.
Oh yeah, well they were before he passed away.
Yeah, before he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So
they were good friends.
Yes, Kent does come to terms with this type of thing. I don't think he was 100% accepting by the time, you know what I mean, like if ever. But he had a mutual respect for Bunky to the point where they were friends.
Exactly. It's cool to see the relationship develop throughout the season. But it was rough there at the beginning to hear it.
Yeah.
And so we get to pretty much Mike seeing his HOH room. It's really tiny, like you said. There's like a little mini fridge, a big bed, and that's it. And then like a little closet.
It was tiny. It was really, really tiny. I like the HOH being upstairs way better. Yeah. Way better than having it in this tiny room downstairs.
Then like peek the little
yeah.
But he does overhear Monica and Bunky talking about Bunky being gay. He's telling them, and Mike overhears, and he goes and joins the conversation, and he pretty much says, "Look, I don't care. Like, that doesn't bother me at all." And he's like, "Are you sure?" Like, yeah, not at all. Like, he's very understanding.
He was just telling him, he's like, just don't lie about having a wife. He was like, that's my only thing. Is like, don't lie about having a wife because that's could be perceived as deceitful.
Yeah.
And it could hurt your game. And Mike was very honest. There's one thing I do like about Mike Boogie is how honest he is. With his nominations, he's very honest. With him talking to Bunky, he's very honest.
Right.
And I do appreciate his his saying like, hey, this is just my side. This is my view. I
Mm-hmm.
still accept you. You're still, but Bunky. We love that.
Mm. It does. So I understand why people feel like this part could get a little slow because up to the nominations, after the nominations, there's no veto. It's not like
Yeah,
now there's a veto competition. The veto is not yet a thing yet. It doesn't happen to Big Brother 3. And it doesn't become the veto that we know
today.
100% today until officially All Stars.
Right,
All Stars is the first time it's played exactly the same as throughout the rest of the seasons.
right.
So there's no veto this season. That's something we forgot about. But Will starts a little showmance with Shan. Well, he tries. He hits on her all the time. She has a boyfriend, but that doesn't stop Will.
Nothing stops Will.
No, nothing stops
No.
Will. And he's really full of himself. It's very funny to see him in the confessionals, talking about everything, and just he's gold in the confessionals. The entire
Oh
time,
yeah.
like immediately he gets in confessionals, and his personality just pops off
Oh yeah.
into the camera.
His young charisma is nothing to compete with.
Right. And it's just like it's really fun to watch.
It
But
is.
we get a situation with Autumn's clinginess again. It goes through. Everybody's looking at it, and it is what it is. We already covered that.
She just comes off bad.
Yeah. And to be fair, like I understand, like she's probably not like you wouldn't rate her the prettiest in the house. So there's yeah, so she has issues with that.
Yeah, we're
uh
over it.
Cheryl gets along with everybody. They go through, and she's like becomes like the Big Brother mom, or the hot Big Brother mom. That
Yeah. She's just extremely likable.
very likable. And so we get to the nomination ceremony, and to get the big key ring in the box. What do you like the key box?
I love the key box. The key
Me
box
too.
should always be a part of Big Brother because it gives you a ranking system. You're literally putting almost like a ranking system every single time. I think that by doing away with the keys and the turning thing, yes, it saves us time, but you're missing that ranking part. And I think it's
Yeah.
important when you're doing your nominations to have the ranking part of it.
Yeah, and you can send a message like,
Right.
"Hey, you're my replacement now," or "Hey, or you could say, "Look, I want to work with you," and you show that to them by putting in the key number one. Stuff
Right.
like that. You can use it as a strategy, or you know what? You can put number one as the person you're going to replace and make them feel comfortable, or backdoor or something.
Oh,
It's just
absolutely.
there's all kinds of endless possibilities with the key box. At first, when I first rewatched it, or not rewatched it, when I first watched it, I was like, "This is takes forever."
It
But now I
does.
rewatched it like a couple times. I'm like, I would prefer the key box.
I like the key box way more. That's me personally. I do like seeing their faces on the screens. So I do, I do enjoy that part of it. I think if they were to somehow mix the having their faces on the screen with the key box, I think that would be like the ultimate. Because I think that by removing the key, like I said, by removing the key box ranking system, you're losing a part of the game. You're losing a part of the element of the game where people are feeling ranked.
Right. I agree with that. But basically it came down to Cheryl and Nicole being nominated. And Mike Boogie's thinking was that Cheryl's so likable, nobody's gonna vote her out. This guarantees Nicole being voted out.
Right.
So I completely understand what he's thinking, but me personally, I'd put up two people that I don't personally care for.
For the first week, yes.
First week,
For the
yes.
first week, yes, I think that's what he should have done. I think they were gaming too fast in this moment in time. But I also blame that a little bit on Dr. Will because I think that Dr. Will is pushing Gaiman and Mike Boogie as well at this point in time because it doesn't really solidify Chilltown yet, but they're together from the very get.
Yeah.
Mike Boogie and Will are together from the very, very beginning. And I think that they were gaming a little bit too quickly.
I think if you put Autumn in Cheryl's spot, that'd be ideal. And
Yeah.
if Nicole does stay, Autumn goes, and like you don't care for Autumn anyways, and it's one of the people that are causing issues. Or you can even use Kent and be like, "Hey, he won the car. That's the reason I put you up." And then
No
that
one likes
way,
Kent anyway.
yeah, and that way, if Kent goes, it's like, you know, it's not really a big deal. But I know why he
Yeah.
didn't do Kent, because Kent was preaching, let's do this guy thing with her, everybody.
Kent wasn't going to put Mike Bookie up, and Mike Bookie knew that, so he was going to keep Kent around a little bit longer because it keeps himself safe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Boogie's pretty direct and said, look, Cheryl, I'm not voting, and you're not going. I don't want you to go anywhere. Nicole, I want you to go. Pretty much
Right.
that's what he said. Pretty direct. Made me laugh a little bit, because
Right.
nowadays you don't get stuff like that. It's all like, sideways. I don't, best of luck, but he was very direct. And he felt confident in nominations. And like I said, I completely understand what his thinking was.
Oh, yeah.
That ends episode 2. We're on episode 3 now.
Okay.
We get a first confessional right away. Nicole's like, I knew I was going up. It is what it is. He pretty much wouldn't talk to me all day. I knew I was going up.
Yeah.
Cheryl's told not to worry. She's not going anywhere. And it's like, pretty much she's the first ever pawn.
Yeah. So first of all, I think that, but you know what? I think it's her own fault too, because she felt way comfortable. What she should have was they told her to. So she did feel comfortable, but that allowed Nicole to campaign,
Mm-hmm.
which is what was our first campaign we see is her going around people saying like, I really don't want to go home. She is actually trying to stay, whereas Cheryl's not trying to stay because she feels comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Nicole and Hardy talk, and Hardy's full-fledged, I want to keep you.
Yeah.
He's all about keeping Nicole. He's the one who's trying to coach her through this campaign, and they discuss what they're going to do. And it's looking gloom for Nicole at this moment in time.
Yeah.
We do get a confessional from Kent saying that the bigger threat is Cheryl because she's so likable, which is hindsight 2020. It's not great for Kent.
No, it's not.
It's good for the end game, but Nicole ends up becoming like a beast. So
We'll see.
we'll see that later. But yeah, basically it's just she's the pawn, Cheryl's the pawn, Nicole's the target, and it's that's what it is. Will talks about the relationships in the house, how confident he is in with like people, and he's just
They
funny.
started giving him the really good Dr. Will edit, evil Dr. Will edit, where he's like, I'm gonna go in here and mess everything up. He starts telling us things like that during episode 2, and he's here the whole game. So we're gonna be seeing him and how he manipulates literally the entire house.
Yeah. He's seen as the leader of the cool people, and he does like a little fasting, which is funny. Like, look, everybody remembers the fasting. It really didn't work. Nobody really did it. But it's funny to sit there and he's like, it's like I'm the little marionettes. I'm just controlling them. I'm a little puppet master. And he's like, I can make them do whatever. And they did the fasting. I think Autumn did
3
it for
people
like
did it.
I think Autumn did it for like an hour.
3 hours. 3 hours, they
3
said,
hours.
yeah.
3
She made it 3 hours before she started eating some pretzels.
And then she's like, tell Will I'm sorry. I just I just couldn't do
She
it.
knew that she couldn't do it, yeah.
And
And
then
then everyone started following suit.
yeah, Will's like, look, this did what turn it into a positive. But he's like, look, this showed that Autumn has no willpower. Now I know that.
I think it's genius. I think he was genius for doing this. He didn't care if people did it or not. He just wanted to see if people would listen to him.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, literally.
It's a lot of fun watching him go. So we get to do luxury competition, the Big Brother movie challenge. Well, it's not a competition; it's for fun, I guess.
Right.
They make a movie, and it's fun to watch them do it. We do get people complaining that it's only going what off of Will and Bucky does, or not Bucky Boogie, but it's like speak up. I think the Bunky was really like Bucky was pretty vocal about it in his confessionals, but then he wasn't really showing much giving up ideas. So I don't really know how much was
They're
true or
already
not.
afraid to go against them because it's, as you can start to see, I think that Mike and Will are the main personalities of the house, where they talk about a little bit later how they're like the cool kids, and people don't want to go against the cool kids because then they single themselves out. So I think that they just kind of let them take the reign, And that seems to be a problem that
Yeah.
they allow.
Yeah. So they get to watch them have fun, and the video camera's like.
Oh, I know, dude. Talk about early 2000s galore.
My grandfather had one of those.
Yeah, no joke.
So it was fun watching them record. They did a couple of different scenes talking about the Big Brother house and things like that. They did like a
It was all
fun
right.
fighting scene where Cheryl was fighting with Nicole and things were flying up. And
Dude, I love Cheryl in the hot tub, and she's just sitting there. She's like, ah, all the men are taking care of her. I'm like,
yeah,
queen.
yeah. So then they get to watch the video. They all look like they had fun, everything.
Yeah.
And then Bunky's still the one who's really pissed. There's other people who said it as well, but Bunky was the main.
Bunky was the main person who
Yes.
he was the very, very first person who was like, Will's gotta go.
Yeah. Oh, everybody kept saying Will's got to go. Will's got to go this episode.
It does not even close to happen.
So we get to Shannon and Will flirting more and more. You know, Will's not stopping. Shannon's letting it happen more and more. Do you think she's like as hot as you think she is?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I think that she is, and she's just not showing it because she has a boyfriend at home and the cameras are on. But if those cameras were not on and she wasn't obligated, I bet she would succumb to Will's charisma like that. And he knows that. That's why he keeps digging at her, because
But
he
she
knows
does
she's gonna
eventually.
cave. Yeah, that she's gonna cave.
Yeah. Bunky, we do get to see Bunky comes out to Kent, and Kent, though, he didn't handle it great at first. He's like, "Don't lie to me about you saying you had a wife." Then he's like, "I never said I had a wife. I just said I didn't want to say their name," and which he did. And he's like, "Well,
Yeah.
that's deceiving." Da da da. He's like, "Well, I wasn't comfortable to come out with everybody yet, and this is me coming out to everybody the one I wanted to do it," which he has every right to do so.
I think that Kent knew that he was kind of like, he was embarrassed because
Yeah,
he said all those horrible things about gay people to Bunky's face. And then he's going back and reliving what he said. He's like, oh my God, I said all these things. But you know what? That's a good learning lesson for you. You know
for
what I
sure.
mean? That's a good learning lesson for him. It's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be saying these things, because if I'm not comfortable saying it to their face, then I shouldn't say it to them at all.
So they're already running out of food by this point,
Yeah.
which is crazy because everybody's eating.
They're
like
so bored. Yeah, they're
yeah.
so bored. They have nothing to do. They're just going to eat.
Yeah. So we get another food challenge, which is they basically have to spell out using their bodies a dish, and the HOH Mike Boogie has to come out and be able to read it. And so they decide what filet mignon, and they were, of course, you know, people are like, "Oh, we had to figure out what Will wanted to do, then we can just go with it." And it's just like, "Oh my!" It's just like people are throwing
It
fits.
is.
It's like, and you know what? Steak is good. Just suck it up and eat steak.
I said, do you like filet mignon?
I've never had it. It's so
Oh,
expensive.
so good. Oh, it's so good. It is very, very, very expensive, but if you ever get a chance to do it, eat it.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
So they spell it out. They get it. Woo! Good. You know,
ooh, yay.
it lasted 5 minutes. So it's
Yeah,
like,
it was a boring challenge.
yeah.
Easy.
Then we get to Nicole starting the campaign for herself to everybody. And she's making headways with people. People are listening.
Yeah.
And people are starting to consider to vote for Cheryl now. And at first, it was not looking good because everybody's like, "Yeah, we're just gonna do Nicole," and that's it. But she's starting to make headway with people. It's actually kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Justin is something.
Yeah, this is when we start getting into the whole story about Justin. So Justin is a little bit
Crazy.
He's got some violent tendencies. Listen, you have to go through all kinds of testing for you on Big Brother. I don't know if that's how it was back then. Maybe this was a situation where they started doing a little bit more extensive testing. But nowadays, you have to go through like a psychological test, anger management test, and making sure that you can be stuck in a house with all these people and not go crazy.
Right.
And he was not it.
Right. So the first like big outburst we seen of him was that he went and stole Kent's pillow and it was his personal pillow, and he was very upset by it. And he was like, he went back and stole it. And he's like, "Don't take my personal pillow. This is the second night in a row." Da, da, da.
Yeah.
And Justin's like, "Oh, not a big deal. Sorry." And then he grabs another pillow, but then Kent goes out there talking to, was it Hardy and I think Monica about it, about how he's pissed about it. And Justin overhears because the house is so small, because they're right outside, and he hears and goes right outside, and he confronts him. And
Gives
can't
him
you
Kim's
see him?
face and
He like
everything.
gets defensive, like he was scared.
He was scared that Justin was going to do something. I can't
Yeah,
believe Justin didn't.
yeah.
Um,
He's like, look, motherfucker, just pointing in his face, just going nuts.
it was nuts. It was too much. Way too much energy. I would not want to be stuck in a house with that kind of energy. Not even
No,
close.
no.
And then later on, I mean, like the whole thing with Autumn blew my mind. I forgot how bad it was. Like he
You mean
was
Krista?
saying, or Krista, yes, I'm sorry, Krista, and some of the things. But like, I was confused because like, did you hear Julie's explanation? She was like, you know, he took the knife, he put it up to her neck, and he was like, "What would you do if I killed you?" Like, blah blah. But then she said later that like Krista was like encouraging Justin to like put the knife against her neck again, and then you know like they did it again or whatever, and they were kissing more or whatever the case was. I think they're both were intoxicated. I know that Krista was way intoxicated.
Yeah.
I think that he was too, and I think that it. I hope that she got in trouble too, because she was encouraging for him to do it to her, and I
I
think that I'm not for sure. I'm glad that he was gone because it was way too
yeah.
much.
I think it was this episode. Or no, it started out episode 4. That's the way it started. But basically, the
Yeah.
end of the episode, it's just Shannon and Will flirting more and more and more. Basically, that's what it is. And is it this episode or is it episode 4? They start kissing.
No, it's this episode. It's so like before the, or was it the beginning of 4?
I think it was at the end of episode 3. They laid under the covers, and Will's in the confessional, like her boyfriend. Tell him he'd get out of here. He's
That's right.
gone.
That's the end. And then the beginning of episode 4 is when they tell us about Justin.
Justin.
Okay. Yeah.
And they show us some of it,
Yeah.
which is it's weird to watch. Like he has the little dust sweeper thing, and was like, "What if I just? Would you be mad if I just cracked you in the head?" And it's just like it
He
showed us
says
that,
things like that.
and it's just like, and like we didn't see the knife, but we seen that, and it was weird. And then they kissed, and then he grabbed the knife, and basically, he's like, "Would you be mad if I killed you?" And did it a couple times, and then they called him into the to into the confessional, and they basically told him, or the dining room said, "You got to go."
You got to go. I think that was
And
the right call.
right, oh for sure, like
Yeah.
and it was like I understand that she was encouraging it. Yes, she was,
Yeah,
but
she
like
was. But it was wrong for him to do in the first place. And he was
exactly,
creepy.
he did it. It's like he's already been warned about his violence and everything like
Yeah.
that. So this isn't the first offense, and it's not like hasn't been talked to before, because they said he's already been warned like twice, and then
Yeah.
like if you do it again, you're gone. And so he was gone, which is the right call. But it was weird to see. Is one of the weirdest moments and one of the shows that
TV
I watched.
history.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. Uh,
It's too
and
much.
do we get the interview at the end, or are we at the right now?
You what?
Did we get the interview with him and Julie at the beginning or the end of the episode? Do you remember?
And the
At
end
the
of the
end, okay.
episode.
So basically, he just talk, and then when he gets called in the dining room, he's like, "Oh, maybe it was the knife thing." Yeah, it's the knife
What do
thing.
you think it's gonna be? He's like, "Oh, I'm in trouble. We're in trouble. There's trouble going on." Well, yeah, of course. They're not
Yeah,
gonna let you do that. You can't do that in general.
right. And then he gets
Yeah.
removed, and people are really upset, and the house guests react to it. And people are upset because even though Will and Boogie are the two people who are packing all the stuff for him, they are making jokes about stuff.
Yeah.
But and then people are upset because they're like, "You're making fun of Justin." I was like, bro, like, do you not know why he got kicked out the game? Like,
I think that he put a good front on
yeah,
because I mean he kind of got obviously there's a reason why he didn't get much of an edit in the beginning is they were just gonna end up they knew that he was gonna end up leaving. But
well, I
I
mean,
think
they
that
edit
he
on real
got
time, so
along. I think they got along with I think that he got along with everyone really well.
see, that's the thing about Big Brother. They edit in real time, especially the newer seasons.
Yeah.
So like it's hard to develop a story. Like you don't see like a winner edit because
Right.
really they don't know who the winner is going to be. Like in
Exactly.
Survivor, they know who's going to before they edit the show. They know who the winner is.
So they can edit the show to make the winners in light.
Yeah, so it's That's why we get so many controversial winners in Big Brother, is because there's no winners edit to protect those people
Right.
going into the end of the show.
And luckily, we've had mostly good winners on Big Brother, to where they don't need a winner's edit.
There's like probably 4 or 5 that are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Probably around there. That's not terrible.
22 seasons. It's less than
Yeah.
25%.
Yeah, and it's just there. So Boogie and Will are packing his stuff. I think Shannon's helping. They're all packing his stuff because they got asked to pack the stuff. And then they're just sitting there joking around about stuff. And there people are outside like mad that they're joking around about stuff. It's like
No one can win.
yeah, it's like let it go. It's a little too much. They're just looking for reasons at that point.
Yeah.
Two sides are forming though. Pretty much the chill town cool people is
The Rat Pack,
Will,
they call it. Yep.
yeah, Shannon and Boogie. And then there
Will,
was everybody else.
Shannon, Buggy, and Krista, right?
No, Crystal votes with the other people.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, she plays the middle. Krista plays the middle.
Right.
So we get to meet with the house guests, family interviews with the nominees, and we talk about their
A
families.
lot of filler this episode. There's a lot of
Yes.
filler in this episode. Yeah.
And basically it's like we go over the votes like throughout the episode. So it's not live voting yet. They go in the diary room and they talk about who they're voting and why. And so we see Will and Shannon vote for Nicole. And then you see Hardy and I forgot who else. They vote for Cheryl.
Was it Monica?
No.
Monica?
No, oh, maybe
Hardy
Hardy and Monica. And Monica voted for Nicole.
Right.
So maybe it was Hardy and Monica, and Monica voted for Nicole, and Hardy voted for Cheryl. Mm-hmm. But the reason why Monica voted for Nicole was because Cheryl is a friend of hers. She considered her a friend, and she was going to do that to a friend.
I love Monica.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's own.
It's own. I love her.
Yeah. Buggy has a confessional that doesn't age well. He's like, I don't feel bad for Nicole at all. She deserves.
He's very direct. He's very direct and honest with what he says.
Yes. He has a chat with Julie about his HOH reign and why he did what he did. Like I said, it's sound strategy. Like I understand what he's thinking, but if she was considered your ally, you don't put your allies out.
No.
Not this early in the game where things aren't fully set.
They were way too cocky and way too confident what was going to happen, and it didn't work out for them. And then I think that's good though, because I think they needed that to kind of wake them up and be like, oh, maybe we're not in charge of what's going on. And people do talk.
This is a first nominee, first time pawn goes home, first blindside right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
And it's just like, whoa. And then
it took some time for us to get up to that in Survivor.
Yes.
And here it's just like right at the beginning.
And that actually Janelle mentions this in Big Brother 22. When the HOH and the veto's done, and it's just the last two nominees, the HOH loses power.
Yeah.
Why do we want to do what the HOH wants to do? They can't compete in the next HOH.
That's true.
Let's make the move best for us. And these people made a move that they thought was best for them. So
which people nowadays need to take note and do for themselves. And the seasons would be so much better.
So it was really cool to see the gameplay. It started out right away, and you see people gaming, and they know this is a game. It's not experience. This is them trying to figure out how to play, and everybody talks about the game.
And Cheryl ends up going home on a 5-3 vote. We didn't see that. Cheryl does end up going. So she wasn't originally supposed to be the first boot, but she ended up being the first boot from Nicole campaigning and from her being way too comfortable.
Yeah. And honestly, and also Chilltown. That really hurt her too, is that Chilltown did not do anything to benefit them because they were trying to scramble to save her to make sure the votes were there. And Shannon was doing an awful job at it, be honest with you. She was honestly, I think people like forget, like she's seen more as the villain of the three, I would say.
Shannon?
Yeah.
No, I think Dr. Will's probably viewed as a more
I'm talking about in the house though.
Oh yeah, probably in the house. But it's because she's a girl and she doesn't connect with the women on a women level, and so she's already kind of distancing herself from that. So
Mhm.
she's kind of that's the one thing about Shannon's game is she leans too much on Dr. Will and Boogie instead of having her own stand personality to help her through a hard, you know what I mean, like a hard time. If Will and Mike Boogie were to be gone, Shannon would be by herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get this going out, and Nicole's ecstatic, Boogie's pissed,
Oh
and
yeah.
and Will and Shannon are like, "Well, what happened?" And it's just fun to watch. And to me, these episodes went by smoothly for me. I had a lot
Yeah.
of fun with them. What we're gonna do is try to cover an eviction each episode twice a week. So we're gonna do this episode tonight, and we'll have it up by tomorrow, and then the Monday we'll have record again, and hopefully have it up by Tuesday. That's our plan moving forward.
Yes.
Fridays
Hmm.
record, Saturday hopefully up, Mondays record, Tuesday hopefully have it up.
Yep.
Um, and so because we that way because there's
There's a
30
lot of
episodes,
episodes. Yeah,
30
there's a lot of
episodes.
episodes we have to get through.
So
So
we're hoping doing 2 evictions each week. This is the first week, and I had a lot of fun with it.
I do enjoy Big Brother. I love watching it, and it's a different. I've watched so much Survivor recently, so much Survivor recently. So to watch Big Brother, analyze Big Brother this way, it's a lot. It's
Yes.
different.
Uh, and I'm AO was not a big ticker for me, so
No,
to see the characters from AO and Big Brother 2 is just head and shoulders. It's way up
it is
here
way
and then
different,
down here.
way different.
And
Mhm.
and and it's not all AO's fault, the player's fault. It's the edit. The edit was bad, in my opinion. It
Yeah,
was people just being miserable the whole time. This time we get to see people have fun, their character pop off, their personality, the charisma, and you
BB
just
two is a good entertainment season. We're gonna
yes,
get that. We're gonna
yes.
get that for sure.
So I actually enjoyed these episodes.
I did
This
too.
uh I'm not sure exactly the eviction week for the next episodes, but we are definitely covering the whole next week. We usually get the HOH comp at the end of these episodes, but we didn't because of the whole Justin eviction.
Yes. So
So
we'll pick up on our next week, you know, with HOH and
and
Mike coming down and who's coming up next and what they're going to be doing.
yes,
So it is a Big Brother is a easier watch in the sense of episode per episode. So don't think that like 4 episodes is going to feel like forever watching because it's not. It's it's still quote unquote hour long episodes with commercials, but it goes by fast.
yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's bad Big Brother, but this is not bad Big Brother.
Right. Right.
Um,
I agree.
I recommend this to first time viewers if you don't mind a little slower pace, but the personalities really stick
And old
up.
TV. If
And
you don't mind
OTV,
old TV, yep.
I don't mind it at all. So,
No.
but this has been Survived Unexpected. This is a coverage of episode 1 through 4 of Big Brother
Yep.
2. Thank you guys for watching. Please participate in our groups. We do a bunch of polls. We're trying to do more. We will only increase. And if you guys can give us a like and subscribe, we really appreciate it. So have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.